It's weird, but yeah. Live on Facebook. Share to page you manage. Virtual swimming. What is going on? Don't mess up. All right, and we are live.
Perfect.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So this is a topic that we are hoping will really resonate with everyone because it is very relevant, and that is not falling into the societal pressures of wanting to overextend yourself into everything under the sun during this quarantine time. Elby, what is something that you told yourself that you would be doing, or how did you think that you would be spending your time pre-quarantine during this time?
So first, I didn't know that there was really going to be a quarantine, right? Like when we were working with Jen Bonet of the Creative Coast, we were doing that monthly pop-up. Yes. And then we had a conversation where I was like, okay, well, let's just cancel our pop-ups because she was like, she possibly, someone in the building or something like that. And I was like, okay, well, let's just like cancel the pop-ups. And then as soon as we canceled, it was like, people were like starting to like panic or starting to, talk about this, social distancing and everything.
Yes.
And I immediately thought of it as an opportunity. I was like, oh, TCU could just switch to digital and we could just really, really get our mission out there and our platform out there. And I had this, remember I sent you this long text message.
Yes.
And it had like 10 goals, and one of the goals is like, we're gonna like post 10 times a day, and we're gonna make 4 or 5 articles for local newspapers, and we're gonna post to 2 national newspapers. We're gonna do all these things, and girl,
where?
And I am okay with that. Like, I didn't think that I was going to be okay with that, but I am okay with that because I think during this time, like, we really do need to just sit down somewhere and like take a breath or do whatever feels good to you at that time.
Exactly. I think this is a sort of a blessing in disguise because, this happens and we're upset that gyms are closed or that, we cannot go out to eat or spend time with our family, or me, somebody who already works from home, like, how can this be much different? Right. It's very different because I like to change things up. I like to go to Starbucks and spend money that I don't need to spend. I like to spend my days in like different cafes. I know you love that. And it sort of forces me to be in my home and really look at my surroundings. And, you know, because when things get tough or when my house is a mess or I'm stressed out, I'm like, I'm just going to leave for the day and I'll be back this evening. Yep. So that when I get home, I can start dinner, shower, go to bed, and start my next day and not have to deal with, you know, a messy house or an over-cluttered closet or any of these things that are really like affecting me in my personal life, but I'm too busy to address them. So
I think I told you the other day, like I spent the day cleaning out my closet, dropping off, you know, clothes and shoes. I had 3 bags of stuff that I needed to donate. You know, I need to do it in my son's room too. I painted my office, like
beautiful.
I mean, my house is right now is like a construction project, so I don't dare show you, but I think you're absolutely right. It's caused me to sit down and like deal with the piece of me. It makes sense. Like, what is really going on inside internally that I need to like work on? And even, you know, and it might be just like my house is cluttered and I need to just breathe. Or it might be like my body is telling me to slow down. So I started reading again. You know, I had like a goal at the beginning of the year to read like 57 books. And I'm feeling like 3, and it's freaking almost May. So I need to like get back on it. It's just like, okay, I can breathe. Like, I guess my question to you is like, what's helping you not get caught up in the whole thing?
So I think I had to like, this is not something I like woke up and I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm okay with this. Like I had to have like that mindset of, I want to be ultra productive. I want to reorganize my daughter's room and, you know, change her bed and build this cabinet. And I want to, you know, build a gardening, a planter's bed from scratch. And I had like all of these projects in my head. And, you know, I bought things for them and I attempted to do that. Realizing through this, I was very overwhelmed because that's not normal to have all those things and still working from home. And I went through a period, when I say period, I mean like maybe like a week of my schedule, my routine just being crazy, staying up all hours of the night, sleeping in bed all these weird times, waking up at like noon and just like feeling like I've wasted the day away and still wanting to do things. And I'm like, you know what, this I can't do this. I can't have all these projects. What is important right now? And I was like, what would make me feel better? And I sort of just, I looked around and I was like, I have a bunch of things that I don't need. So I did what you did. I cleared out the closets. I got my little donation bags. I, you know, just got rid of, you know, I went through all of my paper and, you know, even, you know, going through our QuickBooks and like taxes, finding the things that I needed. I realized all the stuff that I had that I didn't need. So getting rid of all those things, but I wouldn't have realized that if I didn't just sit down, have these unrealistic expectations and just kind of have to bring myself back down and be like, what is important? And what's important for me is that I need to feel good about the space that I'm in.
Right.
And being at home, you know, not being able to leave and go to Starbucks makes me, you know, really get to the root of the issue. And my issue is that like, I need calmness and a peaceful environment, and I didn't have that. Right. So that's sort of how I went through kind of loops and turns. But now you don't think that having a clear space and plants and spending more time with that affects you, but it does affect me. And I feel like I've been waking up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. I've been starting my day earlier. I've been taking walks. I have more time to do things because I'm not anxious and looking at all the things that I have to do. And that's what was important to me, not building a planter, not, building a bookcase and all these things. So
I don't know. I think so. I've kind of did the opposite a little because, like, real talk, I just woke up. but like when I was feeling cabin fever the other day, and I missed, like you said, going to a cafe and like doing things and being productive. And I was like, I want to go outside. And I'm tired of walking my stupid neighborhood and seeing these stupid neighbors. My neighbors aren't stupid, I would say. And so I went like foraging for like, fruit, like native fruit. And I got some like loquats, and I made a pie afterwards. And so it was like really cool because, we drove around, we like looked for them. And my little family went out and like we picked them and rinsed them off. And we made a real out of it. And then we like sat on this bench, ate a couple of them before we got home. And it kind of satisfied that need to like out. And I'm really glad that we were able to do that because I was just tired of being in the house. And like you said, I have these projects that I want to do that need to be done. And I was getting anxious because I was like, I'm getting tired. But I do want to switch gears and talk about parents. I'm a parent, and I feel like I've gotten lucky with my kid because he's smart, and I'm not going to apologize for that. And so he's really easy. I don't have to do a lot of maintenance work with my kid. He, does his own homework. I barely check it, but like I don't have to, I don't have to teach him anything. He's able to use resourceful. He's able to go online and like find YouTube videos and things like that. His teachers are wonderful, and they like give them extra work when they're done with the work that they need. And he's a he pretty much knows how to self-entertain for the most part. And so he'll go outside and he'll play basketball, or he'll be in the house. We'll play like Trouble or like Connect Four or something like that together. We don't have to I don't have to exhaust a lot of time. But I know that there are parents, like I have a friend who is a parent whose child is struggling during this.
bless you.
Now the whole world knows that I'm weird. Okay. And they're like she's struggling, and so she spends 5 o'clock teaching her daughter, going over lessons with her daughter, and then she has to make dinner, and then she has to do her own work from home. So she said her day is like 7 a.m. to like 10, 11 o'clock, sometimes midnight, of just she's exhausted. And like she is losing her mind. And I'm like, you poor thing. And she was asking, like, what can I do? And I was like,
Oof. That's tough because not everybody this is not glorious for everyone.
no. I have a cousin who's 2 of her family members. She's my cousin, but her mother's family. She's my cousin through her father. Her father was my uncle. I'll explain it. Okay. Anyway. 2 of her family members have either passed from COVID-19 or are in the hospital for COVID-19, really sick from COVID-19. And so she is, no one is allowed to come to her house. She does not leave her house for anything. When she orders dropping groceries, she brings it down. She's also in school. She's stressed out because she's used to going to college. So she's used to going to a brick and mortar, learning center, and now through all these things, the professors are treating this as if they're the only class. So they're like dumping more assignments on her. And so, like you said, it is not glorious for everyone. But I do think that everyone deserves to take a breath.
Absolutely. Just to give yourself some grace. And
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Well, I feel like you're in a position. Yeah. Because this is new for everyone. So, different situations come up and you're like, oh, I've been through this, you can do this, or I recommend doing this. And we're all sort of like, I don't know how to help you. I can't send anyone to give you some relief. I can't say, hey, I work from home. Send your kids over here today and I can watch them. I can do that. That's not really an option. And just thinking of it now, my advice, if it were me, would be to put something that you think is a priority on the back burner and put yourself first. Because you're going through it and nobody else is. And, especially when you don't have help or support, that can be tough and take a toll on you.
Right. And get people involved. I think closed mouths don't get fed. So like, for instance, for my friend, I told her, I said, and explain to her what is going on. Maybe there's modified classroom assignments that she can have. Maybe there's like a Zoom conference that she can do with your, one-on-one attention. Maybe there's a private tutor that you could pay for that you could do this work with. For my friend or for my family member who's really, like having anxiety, everybody is going. Everybody is suffering. This, especially the Black community, especially the minority communities. I don't even want my son being outside because I'm like, little boy, if you get hurt, I'm gonna take you to the hospital. Because that's like, ugh.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I get it. But like, if you set yourself up to, like, one, remember that you can only control what you can control. And then allow yourself to have a little bit of patience with yourself and grace with yourself about everybody is navigating through this. And communicate with your professors if you are, communicate with your teachers if you are, communicate with your friends and say, listen, I am like really stressed out. We had a friend who was really stressed out.
Yeah.
And we were like, listen, take a social media break. Sleep in. Watch movies with your lover. Like, don't feel like you have to do all the things.
Well, we live in a society where, and I'm guilty of this, where I feel guilty even if there's nobody around to see me. I cannot allow myself to like watch TV or to like do nothing. I'm just, you are not allowed to do this. And I'm like, who is going to tell on me? Who is going to, see, and I just have like these standards that I've developed for myself. I'm just like, work first, play later. And sometimes, I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, there's just not enough hours in the day for things. And you just got to just cut it off at a certain point and just like hit a reset button because you'll burn out.
Absolutely.
And now's the time. Like,
I do the same thing. Like, I be sitting here like, there's like 7 grants I need to apply for. I gotta go.
Golden Girls.
Like, okay, Lonnie said, someone asked me why I'm taking paid time off and I can't go anywhere. I was like, I need a break. I need a break in. Exactly. I had another friend who took leave during this time because she said, these Zoom meetings and these conferences are stressing me TF out. And I need a moment. I get that. If you have the luxury of taking paid time off during this time, take paid time off during this time. Nobody is telling you to sit in front of your computer all day. You have to tell me, like, girl, off the computer and go spend time with your family, or your little kid, and whoever else you with. Do your thing.
Right. I'm like, why are you calling me on your day off? Why are you doing this?
Right.
You're like, oh, and you don't have an answer ever because you think that that's what you're supposed to be doing because working, like it validates you and you think that you are not that you're not worthy if you're not completing it, but
girl, and then let's talk about social media too, right? Because social media is pushing this thing like, if you haven't written a book, if you haven't started your business, if you haven't, girl, got your dissertation and got your PhD, you ain't built a fucking house, you ain't made a garden and had 2 kids and ran a marathon during this time, you suck. And like that type of pressure, seeing those type of images get to your psyche and you feel like a failure because you start comparing yourself to others. When people are starting to post, remember, people don't never post negative stuff. People don't never post when they're going through it. And you're not that important. And I say that with love because I have to tell myself that too. Nobody is sitting around twiddling their thumbs waiting for TC to make a post. Nobody. Because I'm not sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for a person who has 1 million followers or a person who or a big brand to make a post. I don't even sit around and wait for Beyonce to make a post. I don't. When she makes a post, I'm happy.
like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah, I see you, Jen. But I don't. And so, like, I have to remind myself that you are putting undue pressure on yourself to show up and show out, and that's good. But there are seasons for that. And you have to trust your own self.
I could not agree with that more. And I think that goes to like sort of an analogy, like, you know, when you do something and you think that like, I'm going to go on a shopping spree because it's going to make me feel good. And you go on the shopping spree, you have all these clothes and you're like, damn, like that really didn't make me happy. Although I would love to go shopping right now, but that's not the part, you know? And you think that you have in your head, like, this is going to make me so happy. And you know what has made me so happy during this time? When I was able to develop my routine after having a ridiculous sleep schedule for about a week and a half, whatever, the fact that I have implemented a skin regimen and I have like, and it's something so simple. I am a grown woman and washing my face in the morning and the evening time apparently is a very difficult thing for me to stick with. And applying serums because, you know, I'm knocking on 30's door and I'm starting to get wrinkles right here. But just something as little, I don't know, black don't crack, but, you know, it's coming. But something as little as developing, you know, that me time, spending like a solid 15 minutes in the day and night on my face and on and investing in my skin makes me feel good and impacts my life. It really does. So, and I'm less stressed out and I make an active decision to drink more water because I'm like, my skin, my face. So I'm all like into my skin right now. And I'm thinking like, wait a minute, I thought reading 10 books was going to make me feel good. No, washing my face makes me feel good. And it's something that was difficult, but I've been to implement.
That's awesome. One more thing before we bring Clinton on to talk about his campaign and how he's living through social distancing. So I know everybody's talking about there's this ebb and flow, right? Some people are like, do all the things during this time. And then there's some people who's like, self-care, take your break, self-care. I feel like the balance is in the middle somewhere, right? It's like the season, you know, springtime, the flowers are starting to wake up and you see bulbs. Summertime, they're thriving, they're doing their thing. And then fall, they kind of slow down and then they sleep. I feel like during this time, we kind of need to develop that within our own lives. But also, people won't teach self-care through your own love language. People think that your love language is only just for your partner and how you receive love, but it's also how you give yourself. And like for me, my love languages is words of affirmation and acts of service. So me doing my own nails is not a form of self-care, it's a task.
Oh
Me,
yeah.
and I don't want to do it. So like it ain't gonna happen. Because it doesn't seem like love to me. But what is when I draw myself a bath. Or what is love to me is when I sit in my corner and I like make a song or like make song lyrics or like journal because I'm like fulfilling myself. Or like when I see mirror talk like Issa Rae and Insecure, and I'm like, girl, you so fucking dope. Like you know, those things. So like remember to give yourself love the way that you receive love, not the way that people are telling you you should give yourself love. You ready to bring
So, yes, I am.
All right.
All right.
Hi.
Hello.
Is he in? Awesome. Hey, Clint, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are y'all?
We're good.
We're doing great. Let's give you a proper introduction. This is our great friend, Clinton Edminster, but he's also the 2nd District County Commissioner candidate. That is a mouthful.
It is.
He is boss. He is an advocate. He is a transit rider.
Yes.
Is, are you a SCAD? Are you former SCAD? You're a SCAD student?
No, I'm a proud SCAD dropout actually. But really?
Dropout.
I didn't know that.
I left. We have things in common. Yes, he's a proud SCAD dropout, like mom. And I'm really excited to be talking to you. Before we get started on your campaign and all the things, what have you been doing to like breathe during this pandemic? Like
Spending a lot of money on wine and gin and bourbon.
Same.
Which has been a lot of fun because I've set up a bar at my own house and served myself many drinks, which has been kind of fun. But let's see. Today, Maureen's the store manager here at Starlandia. So on Tuesday, we started doing sidewalk pickups again. And so we're kind of doing that. We fulfill maybe 5 or 6 different orders a day, which I'm, super pleased about. And in the meantime, we've just been organizing. We have a lot of, so Starlandia, we sell new and reclaimed art supplies. Right. So we have a whole backside of the store that's got a whole bunch of supplies that are kind of just sitting there needing to be organized. We put that on pause for a couple of weeks, but right now the goal is to try to have the back of the store as clean and organized and with as many supplies out on the actual floor as possible. And we finally have the time. There's no customers bugging us. Nobody's asking us where the enamel paint is, which is so sad. But also it's giving us a bit of time to get some stuff done. And after we do that, we'll probably do a deep clean. We might paint some stuff. And, we got a lot of jobs and little chores around to do.
I think that's been the consensus for everyone is like getting organized during this time.
Yeah.
Organize themselves. So tell us why you decided to run.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like there are like answers that I could say that people who've been asked the same question have also said, but really I think it's just like, why would anybody do that? I went in, I was setting up my bank account for the campaign. And so I went down to the bank over at SunTrust, and I love those guys. Yeah. A lot. And I was like, hey, Ken, I need to open a bank account. I'm running for public office. And he was like, are you stupid? And I love Ken, I saw that. He was like, we can talk like that. But it is, it's a pretty crazy decision to make. But I'm really glad I did. And I do so because I just I see what we are doing, and I see what we could be doing, and I want to be a part of making those decisions. There's a lot of advocacy that needs to be done. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of communication, and these are all things that I enjoy doing.
Right.
I'll run around and I'll have meetings and I'll be doing, this sort of like politicking, civic engagement stuff, a lot. And usually like my favorite days are the days when I'm exhausted from having great conversations with people that are directed in some sort of forward motion. I'm exhausted and I feel great. I feel like I've personally helped accomplish something, or at least bring people together. And I think that is an excellent skill set for anyone holding public office. And so part of it is something that I want to do, and the other part is stuff that I feel like it's my duty to do as well.
And I want to brag on you a little bit too, because you're not new to this. You're like true to this. You've been doing advocacy work in Starlandia for the arts for a minute.
Yeah.
What parts of those, your art marches, and like what parts of those are you going to bring to this if you're elected?
What was the last part?
If you're elected, what parts of your previous work are you going to bring into this?
All of them. Like all of them. Specifically from the Art March, because you did bring that up. So I helped produce a sort of a distributed art event where we had up to 25 locations in the Starland District, and then there was a little market and kids and art and music and good weather. I mean, there were some really magical moments through doing that. What I learned from that is the power of just getting people to know each other was by far the most effective and long-lasting impact that the Art March had. Is now all these businesses in the Starland District feel like they're part of the Starland District. They know each other. They've got, they can contact each other, and they trust each other to all kind of hold a certain level of quality, a certain level of customer service, so that we can all very easily, say, hey, go check out, the neighboring store over here. It's awesome. And how do I know that? Because I know that. Like, I'm not marketing to you. I'm just telling you, this is what I would do. And I would also say the other thing from the Art March is it's simply that less is more. Less is more, and that what is it when you do something? Repetition makes reality. And so it took with the Art March doing it over and over and over and over again, like 60 times, which was crazy, in order for it to kind of, stick. I don't have to answer that. Really though.
But I don't on the spot, but during
Wait, you're kind of going in and out.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but during our last political forum that we had, I think you left a couple minutes early, and I asked a question that was specifically for you, and other people answered, and it wasn't like, I was like, that's not really the answer I was looking for. But I am really intrigued hearing about your plan for public transportation, because I think it is so important. I'm from Chicago originally, where their system is fantastic, and then I moved to Southern California, where I felt it was horrific. And so I've sort of been on both ends of the spectrum, and I'm in New Orleans now, where I'm like, it's okay. But I think it's something that if it doesn't affect you, people are not, they don't really give it much thought. So what sort of, you can be as general or as in detail as you'd like to be, but what's sort of your take on that or plan in regards to transportation?
A lot. Transportation has really become like a core focus of mine and something that I know that I'm going to be involved in like for the rest of my life. Either advocating for transit or being like a transit forward, you know, politician, or just speaking about being a champion for transit and mobility solutions really is what it comes down to. Because at the end of the day, I think what is the point? What are we trying to do? We're trying to connect people to things. We live in space, and it takes time to travel through that space. The further things are apart, the longer it takes to get there, unless you increase your speed. And so I think with transit, you know, and I say those things, and those are all like very basic, you know, that's just how the world works, you know, space time, is because I feel like people forget. We talk about transit in very abstract concepts, but at the end of the day, the service that we provide takes place in space and in time. And by understanding the limitations of both of those and how they're connected, I think that allows us to have clearer thinking when we try to, you know, create to maximize a public service with a limited amount of budget. You got to know your domain, you know, you got to know like what are the restrictions around this and what can I do, what can I not do. So I have a lot of thinking about transit because I really do believe that it is the premier asset of a well-invested community. If I think more so than really any other, I mean, it's up there with fire, it's up there with water, electricity, and, you know, police and fire protection services. We need to think of transit as an investment of that par and of that quality, and also something that sort of demands our respect and our time to make sure that it's being well maintained and well taken care of. You know, we put a lot of energy and infrastructure and money into making sure that we all have like clean drinking water and great police and, you know, responsive fire. The same amount of time and effort needs to be put into transit because it will become the bottleneck for future economic growth or a catalyst for future economic growth, really depending on, you know, are we investing in it? Are we investing responsibly or not?
I could not agree more with that.
If you got any more, I mean, like I could ramble on about transit for a while, you know, and sort of like what I want to see done.
For me, I think of transit. I don't think of transit as like the little granny going to the grocery store, even though that is, you know, that's a valid thing. I think when I think of transit, I think of growth and opportunity. And I think if the city doesn't invest in easy, clear transit routes and easy, clear transit ways to pay or multiple methods of transit, not just a bus. If we don't do that, then we're doing the citizens a disservice because they will not be able to work.
Yes. And, you know, I can't remember, maybe it was Carmen, somebody said that there's a, you know, if you don't use transit, you might not see the benefit. And that's very true. If you're not using transit, you're not going to see the benefit of it, which is even more of a reason why we need to be over and over and over again stating why. For those that don't ride the bus, if you ride the bus, you're clearly seeing the benefit of it. You know, if you're not riding the bus, you're not. So we need to find a way to communicate that value to you because it is there, it's all around you, but it's invisible and you're not seeing it firsthand. And I think, you know, if we need to ramp up our marketing all around that. And that's not just a CAT issue. I believe that is that's a county issue, that's a city issue, that's just a leadership issue in general. As I feel a lot of the time, especially now, is that CAT is kind of not at the table when it needs to be at the table so that people understand, oh, this is one of the premier public services that we've invested in. I mean, like I'm talking like top 5, you know, in terms of cost and in terms of what it actually does. And we need to have it part of this conversation, not down the road, but right now.
Especially if they're planning growing the city. I know they're pushing for west side development. I know they're pushing for more east side development, more East Gwinnett. You know, if there's no transit, then people aren't going to live there. Or you're going to make it, now you're going to go into gentrification where only people who have modes of vehicle transportation can live there.
Can you look at, you can see this, right? Yay! We're gonna draw some pictures.
Okay.
So here's like what the county looks like. This is this is bad. But let's just pretend this is what the county looks like, all right? So here's where most of the people in town live. All right, and this is also, surprise, the city of Savannah. So kind of one thing I've been focusing on is that CAT is a transit organization that needs to think about land use and zoning, because it takes time to get a bus from here to there, but it takes less time to get a bus from there to there. So if we focus our development in this red dot shape, then we're saving CAT money. We're saving money because police have to travel further, garbage people have to travel less, water pipes have to travel less. But what frustrates me so much is that, and this just happened last year, is that the housing authority built some affordable housing like over here.
Yep.
Like way, like a 2-hour bus ride from, where all the jobs and stuff are. And the reason that happened is because CAT wasn't invited to the table. And that's a problem, that's sort of a structural institutional problem where CAT is just kind of, it's an afterthought. And so now I have to question, is that affordable housing actually affordable if you have to have a car to get there? Because we actually don't provide transit service there. And if we did, we'd have to take it from somebody else.
Right.
And so it frustrates me.
So is your platform the biggest thing or the biggest issue on your platform? Is it transit or something else?
I would definitely say it's transit, and also how transit informs housing affordability, workforce development, community health, after-school programs. If you can't get to a service, then it simply isn't there for you. We might be doing some really cool after-school programs and some really cool, like low-income medical assistance programs. If you can't get there, they don't exist. So like connecting them all is crucial.
I also want to give you your roses before I give you your time to just talk freely. You spoke at a Savannah downtown business luncheon.
Yeah.
About how Starlandia was born, or how it transformed, right? Over like a 20-year period. And then you laid out other places within the city.
Mm-hmm.
You laid out other places within the city that are that could potentially be the next Starlandia. And you named like 4 things. You said, accessibility, sidewalks. You said art and music. You said mixture of housing and business development. And I can't think of the other one that you.
Yeah, neither can I. I'm actually writing down what you're saying now. This is good shit.
Like, it changed my entire business.
Oh, really?
The way that I started to think about TCU, it changed the way that I started having conversations with city officials. I actually even claimed a secret street. I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't want to jinx it. But I was like, I'm going to own this street. And I'm going to make this street the next Starlandia. And it was one of the streets.
Please.
And I really thought, because you also said, these places need their own character. They need their own personality. And I don't want to change the personality of this particular street that I'm thinking of, but I do feel like someone needs to come in here and showcase it.
Yes.
And show it off. Because Broughton cannot be the only place that tourists go to, right? And so I just want to thank you for that, because I had never had someone break down neighborhoods the way that you broke down neighborhoods. And I just, it was great. It was fucking fantastic.
Oh, I love I love hearing that. Just because that's, that's kind of the power of like cool ideas, is that I don't even know, I have no way to track them, and I have no idea where they're going to end up. And a lot of the ideas that I'm sharing there are things that I've learned, but they're not necessarily new. They come from somewhere else. And I feel like we kind of are going through a bit of an epiphany about how we think of public and private space, and how we think about coming together to create new spaces in new ways, that are walkable, that are creative, that have an identity, but it's not a fake identity. It's really more of an amplification of the characters there, and how we create successful small businesses around there, and it's all very tied together, with a bus stop. But that was, I'm really glad to hear that. That's cool.
Awesome. So I just want to give you the next however many minutes you need to just talk about your platform, to share with the voters what you plan on doing, what's next for you, where you're going to be at, if you're having any other Zoom conferences.
Yeah, it's kind of a busy weekend. I've got a CAT meeting after this, because we're actually in the middle of finding a new CEO, which is very exciting, but also so wacky with everything going on right now. At 3:00, there's a online Zoom debate or forum. I don't know. That I'll probably be sharing on my Facebook page as well, which you can find at Clinton. What is my name? Clinton Edminster, 2nd District, something like that. You can find it there. And then tomorrow at 1:30, myself and Florence Glover, who's running for the 5th District County Commission, we're going to be having a conversation about a whole bunch of different stuff. And I just looked at the questions, and that should be, I think, a really interesting and informative conversation. Next up for, this campaign, we're still just trying to figure out interesting ways to campaign in a virtual world while still having some sort of physical connection with people. I've been biking around. You probably saw that funny little bike trailer that I made that I throw all my campaign signs in.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just a little bike trailer, and then I bike around and I hand out signs, and it's just enough physical interaction with people, and I'm doing it safely and whatnot. It's just enough physical interaction to keep the rest of the campaign grounded. This is what District 2 is. This is who lives here. This is what their voices sound like. And so that's just enough for me to be able to go and do the rest of it online, where it's much kind of, it's online.
Right.
But yeah, we're going to continue having a lot of conversations on Facebook and trying to connect with voters and new voters as much as possible in this new way. It is extremely limited, but it also has, forced us to be more innovative with how we come up with our messaging.
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much for.
Yeah, for sure. And I would finally say, to be a responsible candidate, be sure to fill out your absentee voter form. If you need help with that, let me know. They should all be in the mail. So far, 13,000 people have submitted their applications in Chatham County. That's great, but we still have we have a ways to go.
If they haven't gotten their absentee, where can they find it? Can they find it on
that website? Let me just make sure I've got this right. It's mvp.sos.ga.gov. I think if you search my voter page, Georgia, boom, yeah, on Google, you'll be able to find it. You should be able to request an absentee ballot there. You can still vote at the polls, and there will still be early voting going on. The election has been moved to June 9th. And if you have any other questions, let me know. But this should be
perfect.
Fairly straightforward.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Clinton, for coming on. Will we see you next week at the part 2 of the forum?
I think so, yes. Yeah. Will you?
Hopefully we will see you at
Yeah, all right. I'm looking forward to it.
Thursday.
Definitely on my calendar.
Yeah, it's on your Zoom somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, Quinn, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and thanks for all of our listeners. And we will record because I know that our live kept coming in and out. So we're just going to upload the video probably within the next hour, so everybody gets the full scope, and you can share it with your constituents.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Have fun.
Thank you.
All right, I'm leaving.
All right, Carmen. So what are your last thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Oh, wow. So I guess starting from the beginning, it's okay to not do everything. And if you want to do everything and you're okay with that, it's okay to do that too. I just think being comfortable and not having any sort of outside output or what expectations are, just focusing on you and what should Carmen do?
Right.
And Carmen needs to wash her face and have a clean environment in order to thrive and to clean out her closets. And that makes me feel good. And if reading, 10 books during this time makes you feel great, then fantastic. Or if journaling or taking a bath makes you feel great, don't let somebody tell you, you need to paint your nails or something. So just focusing on what makes you happy. I really enjoyed that conversation with Clint. I'm glad that my transit question was answered because that's something that's very important to me. I'm excited for the political forum next week to see what's going on with that.
I want to put this out there because I saw someone message us and say, I hope the other conversation of this gets shared. I'm going to respond to them also. But I want to say that last week during our virtual forum, I said anyone who wants to come on to TCU's virtual pop-ups on Fridays are more than welcome to share their campaign, what they want to do, how they plan on impacting the community, because we are a bipartisan information sharing community.
Absolutely.
Right? Is to create community and to gather. That is our mission. That is why we exist, is to help people thrive. So if you would like to be a part of this, please DM us. We're the only two people who responds to DM. We will gladly put you on the calendar. Thank you to Clinton. Thank you for everyone who listens. Thank you for Lonnie for hopping on and messaging. Yes. It was really sweet. I love you so much for that. And I will tell you what the street is. I can broadcast it publicly. Okay. All right, you guys. We are done. Talk to you later.
Bye.